Hey everyone, welcome to the Aggregated Finance Technical Analysis video for the 31st of March 2022. This video is being recorded after the main US equity markets have closed. Alright guys, welcome to the video. As always, the contents of this video do not constitute investment nor trading advice, and any trading you do as a result of this video is done entirely at your own risk. With that, let's get into it. Let me start off today's video with this chart of the SPY. This is the ETF which tracks the S&P 500, because we can see something very telling here. As we said in the last video, we've made our way up more or less in a straight line. We've got these big green bars. We're above the 50 MA and the 20 MA, and it looks like we are pulling back. So we've got this big red bar here, but again, as long as we remain above the 50 MA and the 20 MA, the bias is still on the bullish side, and again, a pullback is not unusual. If we come down to this area, nobody should be surprised. Possibly the 200 is support, but the main thing that I want to see for these markets to be holding their uptrend that we've had of the last couple of weeks is the 50 MA and the 20 MA. Now, why did I start off with this chart? Remember, the main equity markets will set the tone for the crypto. So let's take a look at this is our own AF. We'll come back to this in a moment. Let's start with Ethereum. So this is the chart of Ethereum. We're getting exactly the same kind of a move here. We're just pulling back. As I mentioned in the last video, those of you that would have seen it, it came out I believe yesterday or the day before. I said the 200 moving average is going to be resistance. If we go sideways, that means we're building pressure to go higher, and I said we may get a pullback, but as long as we remain above the 50 MA and the 20 MA, that is keeping the bias to the upside. And it's not unusual if we get a pullback. Remember, this is resistance. As I mentioned, go and see the previous video. This is resistance, and we are getting, this is a very, very mild pullback at the moment. When I compare it to the S&P 500, which has got this big move down, which is a 1.5% drop in the equity markets, but then when we go to the cryptos, we can still see we're still in the upper range here. Now, if we do pull back, the first area of support will be around here, at around the 3,200 level. Again, it may be a steeper pullback. We may come down to this area, but as long as we remain above the 20 MA and the 50 MA, the bias is to the upside. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. We will probably see a very similar thing there as well. Okay, so exactly the same thing, and if we do pull back, this is a good support area here, these pivot highs, but as long as we remain above the moving averages here, the bias is, of course, to the upside. So taking a look now at the weekly chart, it's very, very important to look at the bigger time frames. The weekly chart, we have moved above the 20 MA, and really ideally for us to get continued upside over the coming weeks, what we need to see now is price remain above this 20 moving average on the weekly chart. If price goes sideways, that will give the 20 MA, the blue line, a chance to turn upwards, and as long as we remain above, then again the bias is to the upside. Now looking at our very own AGFI, we can see we have moved above the 20 MA. This is the daily chart, and we are going sideways. This is bullish consolidation. 20 MA, the blue line starting to turn upwards. The next milestone would be for us to move above the 50 MA, and we continue sideways. The two moving averages will start to turn higher, and then we should be on our way higher. So before we conclude the video for this evening, I just want to reiterate, we're looking at Ethereum daily chart. We've hit the 200 MA. We are going sideways. We don't have a big red bar going down thus far, although we do on the SPY. So this is showing relative strength. Hopefully we will stay in the upper range here, but the main telltale sign is, do we remain above the 50 and 20 MA? All right, guys, with that, we will wrap up the video, and I'll try and get a video out to you sometime over the weekend.